may not clean my Toyota Tacoma often, but when I do, these are the things that I use. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. And that's right, I may not wash or clean my Toyota Tacoma very often, but when I do, there are a few select chemicals and materials that I use to do it. And I get questions about that on the channel, so I thought I would run through and show you guys what it is that I use on the occasion that I am gonna wash my Toyota Tacoma. So let's start off. First thing that you need is a bucket. Obviously, I use a little bucket. Some people use the 2-bucket method. I used to do that. I really found that it was more of a hassle. You know, any dirt that's in the bucket is gonna settle, and as long as you don't stick your mitt in there, or whatever you're using, and agitate the water, that stuff's gonna stay on the bottom, so not a big deal. I would start high and move low though, because most of the dirt and stuff is gonna be down below, the gritty stuff. Next up, have to have a mitt. I always use a mitt. I do use 2 different ones, one for the cleaner areas, the top areas if you will, and one for the lower areas, and lately really just for the wheels. So I use this for all the paint, I use this for the wheels and the tires, because that's the dirtiest, grittiest part of the truck, and I do that last. Of course you're gonna need water, I assume you have that, and then soap. Now, I use either something that has wax in it, this is called a blue coral wax, wash and wax concentrate. I do that because I don't want to use anything that's going to strip the wax. If I'm going to re-wax the truck, then I'm going to use dish detergent, something that will strip the wax. But otherwise, it makes no sense to me to wax the truck and then wash it down the road before I'm going to wax it again and use some kind of a soap that's going to rip the wax off. Seems counterproductive to me. Next up, after I get it all washed, I dry it off with just like a bath towel. I've used chamois and things in the past. Don't really dig those. I think they really scratch it up more because those are more coarse, and I think things get embedded in the chamois or the chamois, whatever you might have heard of. So always a bath towel. After that, and we're starting on the outside, I'll get to the inside in a minute, I do the tires. Now, the lazy man's way is just this foam stuff. I use this Armrest tire foam. You put it on, you let it do its thing, and that's it. You don't have to spray it off, you don't have to dry it or anything. It dries on itself, and it leaves a nice shine on the tires. Pretty simple to use. If I'm feeling just a little bit more illustrious, then I'll use Armrest. Now, the way that I do this, I have the Armrest, and then I take just a waxing pad and I spray about half of it with Armrest, and then I go ahead and wipe all around the tire. This stuff is awesome for shining up the tires, but I will say it does not seem to last as long as this, and I believe it's because this stuff dries and this stuff doesn't ever really dry. It's kind of an oily finish when you're done, so of course when you're out driving around through dust or dirt or anything, it's going to be attracted to it, and that nice sheen that you put on the tires is going to be gone. Now, one thing that I will caution in using Armrest, don't put it on too thick. I've seen a lot of people do that with Armrest or other spray-on type products that don't really dry, and the product ends up on the fenders behind the tires because it kind of slops off as the tire spins, and then it's back in the back, and you see all these little dots of shiny stuff. I've seen that a lot at car shows and things. I think either people don't realize it or they just don't care. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't look good in my opinion. Next up, wax. I hate waxing more than I hate washing. There's a couple things that I use for that. Now, the lazy man's way, my preferred method, is just this spray-on wax. Very simple to do. This one happens to be by Chemical Guys. I really like this stuff. All you do is spray a bit of it on a microfiber cloth, spray it on the surface you're waxing, and then wipe it off. When you're done with that, you shine it up with a clean microfiber cloth, and it works great, just as well as any traditional wax that I've ever used. Now, speaking of traditional wax, my favorite is the Carnauba from Meguiar's. This stuff is great. It goes on easy. I mean, it's just a liquid. It's a paste kind of stuff. You'll wipe it on, leave it sit for a few minutes, and then wipe it off. It's pretty easy to do. Not a lot of effort. And I gotta say, it smells really good as well. I don't use any other waxes. I've experimented with others in the past, particularly the older, more pasty kind, you know, the kind that dries white. Never fails. You get that on some black part somewhere and then it never comes off. That stuff is a drag. I'll never use it again. Primarily just the spray-on kind. Now, moving to the inside. You know, there are a ton of different products out there to clean the inside. I don't use any of them. A lot of people I know will use Armor All, but as I mentioned, Armor All never really dries. It kind of leaves an oily kind of film. I don't like the feel of that, and I don't like that it's still kind of wet. Again, it attracts dust. Last thing that you want when you've got it all shined up is 2 days later, it's got a nice layer of dust that this stuff is attracted. So I never use it on the inside. By the way, one more thing I do want to mention about this, or even the spray-on wax. If you have black parts, you know, the black plastic bits like around the fender flares or whatever, those two products are great to shine it up, to bring it back to life. They work just as well on that as they do on paint. I would probably go with the wax though, for the same reason the Armor All is going to attract dust and dirt. So back to the inside. I have a concoction just in a 32-ounce spray bottle. This is not Simple Green. What I do is I put about 6 to 8, maybe 10 drops of dishwashing detergent, non-ammonia containing. That is important. I put it in the bottle, fill it up, and then I use this to clean the entire interior of the truck. I've even wiped the seats and stuff off with it. Not soaking them or anything, but just to get any dirt or anything that might be sitting on them. Pretty easy to do with this stuff. I use it on the windows as well. Now, I have tinted windows, and this is where the non-ammonia containing part is important. Ammonia will eat your tint over time. So you never want to clean your windows that are tinted with film with anything other than a non-ammonia containing product. Very important. And a lot of dish soaps contain ammonia. I know in the past I've seen people do this same kind of thing, but they're using just regular dish soap with ammonia in it. Don't do that. This is easy. It's very cheap. I mean, you buy one little thing of dishwashing detergent, non-ammonia, and it'll last you forever doing it this way. It also works well to clean little things off the paint like bird droppings. I've done that numerous times. Just spray it on, let it sit for a minute, and you can wipe it right off, and it's not going to damage your paint either. Very handy little concoction here. Don't remember where I got it. I'm sure I didn't come up with it on my own, but it's been years since I've been using this. Lastly, just a good, powerful sweeper to clean all the debris and stuff out of the footwells, on the seats, wherever it might be. And the important part there is something that has a lot of suction. I've had vacuums before that don't hardly do anything. Make sure you get one that has good sucking power. You'll be less frustrated, believe me. Anyway, those are just a few things that I use on the occasion that I do wash or clean my Toyota Tacoma. Leave a comment. Let me know. Is there something better than these that you have experience with? First-hand experience. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. RobMotive MT, all about mini trucks. Currently, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Also, RobMotive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators. I just got a Jeep Gladiator Mojave for that channel. Gonna do all kinds of mods and things to that as well. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching. Stay clean out there. Bye.